every putting lesson that you're going to get, or any time you're going to pull out your putter at GOLFTEC, it's going to start with an assessment. We do that really just to capture your skills, so we have a baseline of how good you are, and then we can compare you to other players to help recognize where you started at and where you want to try to get to. Haley's obviously a rock star, so this is going to go very well, but we're going to do it anyway. So the first couple things I'd ask you really are, when you do putt, let's say it's a 12-footer like this one, are you likely to miss to the left or to the right? I know you don't make them all.
Well,
when you do miss, which way?
When I do miss, I miss to the right.
To the right.
Push it a little.
Okay. And is that pretty much the only miss you have? I mean, do you ever miss to the left?
I occasionally miss to
Sometimes?
the left.
Okay,
sure.
but it's rare. All right. And then when you have a putt from, say, twice as long as this, where is the distance typically? Short of the hole, long of the hole? Is there a pattern at all?
Long. Definitely long.
All right,
I'm aggressive.
Is the green big enough for you?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all right. I'm trying to figure out how bad this is. So you miss the right and you miss long on longer putts. And does that lead to a lot of three putts? That maybe
Not
doesn't
too many
feel like
three
it?
putts,
Okay.
but I'm definitely not doing myself any favors when I have to save par with a 3-footer on the way back.
Tougher second ones, okay.
Yeah.
And then do you feel like you make enough putts from, say, 12 feet like we are here?
No.
No, okay. And then is that really, like, if you had one thing you wanted to do better, it'd be just make more of these?
Yeah,
okay.
for sure.
All right. So then I've got enough information to really know that I'm going to try to help gauge her skills. I want to see it actually play out of, does she miss to the right? Then using blast motion, we're going to talk about why she misses to the right. And then ultimately we'll look at the sight line down there also to see how she's actually looking down the target line that she thinks she's putting on. So this will be fun. Okay, so let's hit 10 putts from here. We're not even going to go to the hole. I'm just going to put a golf ball down on our putting sword here, and we're putting to the left of it, so don't think you should be making this.
Okay.
I'm just putting this down. Go ahead and set up to this putt, and then what I want you to do, we'll hit 10 putts that go about 12 feet.
Okay.
And I'm trying to see how long this golf ball stays on the putting sword. Like the best players that you watch on TV, 10 out of 10 times they're going to keep it on before it rolls off the edge and starts putting. So go ahead and do that. So that one missed to the right. So that was really good. You missed 3 of them, so 7 out of 10. Probably worth having at least a lesson, just practicing that. But the point of a putting assessment is really just to see what you are good at and aren't good at. So now we're going to test your speed. Watching all those, they were really good, but now we're going to focus mainly on just getting that right, and we'll see if anything changes.
Okay.
Okay. So the next part is get rid of the putting sword. That's done. It's the dirty work there. And I'm going to put this stick down about 1.5 feet past the hole, between your golf bag and the hole. And I'm going to have you hit 10 putts trying to get the ball to stop somewhere between the front edge of the hole and the stick. And we'll see how many out of 10 you can get in that little range.
I'm not going to the hole again?
No, no need. Sometimes that gets in the way and slows it down. Okay, well, let's talk about some of these numbers then too up here. So as an example, these are all of the tempos that you've had on these putts, so that's the ratio of how long your backswing is relative to your forward swing. And 2 to 1 or 1.9 to 1 is really pretty good for if you're going to average all the tour players together. So you can see that the length of your backstroke is pretty slow relative to how fast you hit. So the hardest way to control the speed of the putt would be to move back super slow and then accelerate quickly. So I'd say in here already there's something to practice on your stroke relative to the best putters. You need to either slow down the forward stroke to get this closer to 2 to 1, or you've got to speed up the backswing.
Okay.
And that would be one observation. That doesn't mean that that's why you're good or bad at putting, but this one is probably the one that's most interesting. So this is your last 12-ish putts, kind of chopped off here at the bottom. This is the face angle of all of those putts relative to where you started.
Inconsistent.
You see a pattern in there? They're just different?
Yeah.
So some of them you hit at 0, but I think when watching you warm up, the putts that you missed the most to the right, you've got a 0.8 to the right, a 0.2 to the right, a 0.8 to the right, a 0.9 to the right, 1.4 to the right. Then there's your mysterious pull that comes out of nowhere. Then you're pushing again, another one that probably pulls, push, push, and maybe you catch the hole on that one. So it is a little bit different on the face angle every time. This works fine, sort of, if you always have a face angle that's the same. Then however you just aim when you set up to the ball would dictate if that thing goes in or not. So if you pushed every putt, just aiming more to the left, and then you had 1.4 degree open face every time, you just push them in the hole. That'd be fine. Most people who are right-handed actually aim to the right and hit like little pull draws into the hole. That's not what you do, but I would say if anything, your tendency is to miss to the right. So at address, even feeling like the face angle is more to the left, or that your stance has shifted more to the left, you might make a ton more putts without doing anything.
Okay.
We'll test that out too.
Okay.
What do you think? Kind of make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
So the data here is meant to be just simple to understand, and if it's delivered well and you see patterns of putts this way, then you can tell what you need to do. It's not really my opinion anymore, it's just right up here on the screen.
Yeah.
So I do want to test one thing with you that you probably haven't done before, but I think this is one of the coolest things that anyone who plays golf should understand a little better, which is when you bend over to look at a putt, where you think you're looking with your eyes is revealed in this little, just
The
looks like a
putting mirror?
silly little training aid, but it's got some value to it. So
It's my favorite training aid.
okay, the mirror is?
Yep.
All right. Well, the extension that we have on here is interesting. So this is called the sight line, and another mirror down at the end. So set up to this black line. I won't put a golf ball down. And then just set up like you do normally, look straight down at the putt. Okay. Comfortable?
Yep.
All right, so then when you take your head, try not to move anything except just your head, like it's turning around your spine that way, and look straight down this line. And do you see the green line here just vanish into the white line, or can you see it a touch on one side or the
I
other?
can see a little bit of the green line on the left.
Okay, so if you move a little closer to the ball, then that'll start to disappear some. The
Yep.
idea isn't to get your eyes right over the ball. It's so that when you're outside trying to putt, if you think you're putting down this line, but it's actually over here to the left, you're not really looking down the line that you're trying to putt on. So then you either have to compensate with hitting with the face more open, which I think you kind of do now, or you just miss to the left. So that's why you have the face more open at impact than you do when you just set up to the ball.
Okay.
So then if you have one of these mirrors at home, when you look down onto the mirror, where are your eyes relative to, say, this green line, black line, or green line? Are they over or through one of those?
My eyes are just barely right now over the black.
Okay. So then when you practice, if you valued the skill of looking straight down the line, that's where you would try to practice and put your eyes.
Okay.
That make sense?
Yeah, because I've been practicing right on the black line, but when I do that, I can barely see the green.
So some of that comes from you can have your head in all sorts of different ways. The amount that you tilt your neck to the left or to the right, or the amount that you turn your head, would change how you look down this line. So there's really no perfect place to put your eyes. It has more to do with how you would have your head turned and tilted that matters. So just with the way you have your head, you've got to look a little bit past that to see this line perfectly. That doesn't mean you're going to make every putt, but it does mean when you start looking at the line you want the putt to break on, that you're actually looking down that line.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we keep these in the centers, like pushed up against a wall at any GOLFTEC, so that this is the first thing I would do walking into the day to putt, would be to just go stand up there, and without even rolling a ball, you're just trying to calibrate where your eyes should be relative to the club head itself. And then I'd start my putting practice. And you can do kind of the same thing at home.
Easy fix.
Right. So between how you set up to the ball, which looks great, the data that you have up here shows the inconsistent face, and then you say you always hit these too far. The practice you kind of need to do is a lesson on how to speed up the backstroke or slow down the downswing, either one of those, and we'd practice how to do that. Or and then also just where you're going to set up to this ball takes a little bit of work too. Then the last one that we're going to test is really just where you aim a putter to begin with. That should be a fun one for you. All right, let me get that set up here. So using just a mirror and a golf ball, we can get pretty far on this one. Can I borrow your putter?
Mm-hmm.
I might give it back.
Okay.
Maybe. So I've got a mirror on your putter. And this will tell us more or less where you're going to aim this based on this laser too. So you notice how when I put this down, I get a dot on the wall.
Yeah.
We're going to check out where you actually set up to the putt and where that is aimed. Okay. So set up to this ball. We're about 5 feet or so away. And then once you think you're aiming your putter straight towards that white hockey puck down there in the laser, let me know.
Okay.
Okay. To the left quite a bit. And that's a lot.
That's
right?
a lot.
All right. Okay, so back up one more time. Come into the ball like you would if you were on the course again. And we'll try that again. Don't really do anything different. Just see if that's your normal pattern.
Okay.
Okay. Pretty far to the left. So ideally you'd aim that a little bit higher and straighter. So you need some more loft. Well, one of the variables that I didn't tell you about yet was this one. So this is the change of loft that you have. So from address until you hit the ball, do you add or subtract loft? Anything that's positive is adding.
Mm-hmm.
So you saw how low on the wall you were aiming that?
Yeah.
And then that explains a lot of this one. So we can use this chart up here as just a different way to look at it. You notice how all these numbers are positive? Most players hit with a pretty much the same loft or tend to even de-loft it some. You're always hitting and the shaft's almost moving backwards when you hit. And that's what this number is. So on average, you're over 1.5 degrees more loft than when you started. And this green bar is really what you're trying to do. That's what the best players do. So you hit with, or you lean the shaft forward, de-loft it, close the face, and then when you hit, you try to open the face and add loft to it to aim it straighter when you hit. Does that make sense?
So my hands are ahead, my putter's back here.
It's kind of the other way. So your hands are actually back. That's what adds loft.
Okay.
And you have the face or when you hit, you're trying to hit with the face open that way. It's kind of like a little mini bunker shot that you're hitting. Does that make sense?
I'm
so
making
this is
putting really easy on myself here.
Yeah, I hear the sarcasm in there. So this is you to a greater degree, less loft, faces to the left, and then you come through to adjust that shaft back, face open. That's really not that different of a pattern, but I would say on average, most people usually aim to the right and hit that little pull draw, and you aim to the left and hit a push cut in the hole. Make sense?
It does,
Okay.
yeah.
And you're not bad at it, but I can see how you open the face too much on one putt. Sometimes you don't get it open enough, and that's your mysterious one to the left. And
yeah, it's hard to stay
why.
consistent when I'm doing that.
Yep. So one way we can practice is first, I'd tell you that while you have a great putter there, getting fit for a putter or running through that kind of process would matter quite a bit. I think we've got putters on that wall that would make you aim straighter.
Okay.
Without even knowing it. So maybe we'll try one of those even right now just to show you how that would work. But that would be a big part of it because it might be just the way you're looking at your putter is making you aim to the left.
Okay.
All of those over there, as crazy as it sounds, can change that by a couple of cups, one direction or the other if you find the right one. Okay. Then we'll practice just this skill of setting up to the ball, moving the ball, and where you're aiming it. So you can adjust that over time.
Perfect.
So you need at least 2 or 3 lessons to probably do that, and that's how we'd proceed through a putting assessment that way. So instead of just coming in and working on your stroke, which I think is how a lot of people get putting lessons, that's not a good place to start. It's really what do you do, find the objective data that explains it, and then go through how long this is going to take so that you don't feel like if I just tinker with my stroke one time, then I'm probably good. To practice the distance and the start line and the aim, I mean, there's some work to be done in there.
I'm ready.
Sound okay? I know you are.
Ready.
I know you are. So yeah, that's your typical putting assessment. There's not a whole lot more that should go into it, but if you're not getting some sort of objective analysis of your putting stroke and where you miss and talking that through with a coach, probably not getting a real good putting lesson experience to get started. So any GOLFTEC is going to be able to give you an experience just like this and let you really know what your problems are before you get in there and start knocking them down. Thanks, Haley.
Thank you.
That was really good.
Thanks.